and welcome to the Bad Bitch podcast. I'm Emily.
And I'm Julia.
And we are here to guide you on your bad bitch journey. And this week we're talking about authentic goals. How to set them, how to use them, how they can guide you, and practical steps to achieving them. So it's going to be super helpful, especially early in the year when we're thinking about our goals, but how do we actually turn them into reality?
Yeah, for sure, because I think it's very easy as well to get hyped into thinking that other people's goals that you're seeing online or even in your friendship circle are your goals. Mm-hmm. So learning to distinguish the things you actually want to go after is very key.
Yeah, so we're going to help you with all of those things, as always. But first of all, let's check in. How was your week?
It was good. I think it was good. You know me, I run full pelt through the week and then I'm like, I get to the end of it and I'm like, okay, on to the next thing. But yes, it was good, thank you. Saw some lovely clients and they're making some really good progress and I'm very proud of them.
Very satisfying. Any themes with clients at the moment?
Do you know what? Because we are, like you touched on, we are early in the year, I do feel like people are literally like, we are on day 389 of January.
Totally. This is the month that never ends.
Yeah, it really does feel like it. And a lot of the messages and the things that I've been working on with clients is just about steadying the ship. We don't have to it's not the time for making those big sort of leaps forward. Even if we can't see like that gentle, tiny next step, it's just about, okay, how do we maintain? How can we just sort of like steady the wobbliness?
And I think also, if you've had a bit of a rough January, which I have and some of my clients have, there's nothing wrong with just saying like February's the new year.
Yeah.
Just like you can draw a line under the year at any time and just say, okay, that didn't go to plan. Let's draw a line under it. Let's start again. What are my goals for the year? Like start now.
Yeah, I love
that. So I think that's completely legitimate. Now, I this week treated myself, did a bit of self-care, which we always talk about.
Yes.
Being a bad bitch also involves putting yourself first and looking after yourself. And I'd been horribly ill in January. I had a horrible stomach bug. Loads of people have been unwell. And I needed a bit of self-care. So I went to the spa, which was great. But something unexpected happened at the spa. I booked myself a massage, which was lovely. And when I went into the massage, it was with someone I'd never, worked with before. And she asked me what I did for a living. Now, obviously, being a career coach is quite interesting, but it's not like being a doctor. I have lots of friends who are doctors or pharmacists where they never tell anyone what their job is, because as soon as they do, someone says, oh, can you look at this rash?
Yeah, for sure.
Or they tell them all their problems. Mm-hmm. And I stupidly just said, oh, I'm a career coach. And then the first 10 minutes of this massage was this person telling me all the things they didn't like about their job, which was being a masseuse while they were massaging me. And I was just not expecting that, because I get asked the odd thing when I'm out and about, the odd bit of career advice, but don't really get someone completely downloading all the things they were unhappy about. They were very good masseuse, but they were unhappy with where they were working. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to name it. But I did the very British thing. I should have just said, I'm just off the clock.
Yeah.
Can we just do this in silence? But I did the very British thing where I just responded a tiny bit and then I just stopped responding.
Yeah.
And then she got the hint and then she stopped.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, it's that thing where people don't think about why you're there. Like when I'm working with a client, I think, why are they here? What do they need today? This masseuse was just fully in her head about what she needed and was treating me as someone she could just unburden herself on. So it wasn't the most relaxing spa experience, but then I went and steamed myself almost to death and recovered. Do you ever get, when you're out and about, and tell people that you're a hypnotherapist, do you ever get people trying to kind of use you for free in the moment?
It's sometimes I feel like there will usually be someone that has like something that they have like struggled with, or someone's got a phobia. Do you know what the most common thing that people will talk to me about when I say I'm a hypnotherapist is they want to talk about like Darren Brown or like the stage shows and that kind of element of hypnosis rather than hypnotherapy. So they want to talk about that rather than actually, and then they will, when they feel more comfortable, like share. But generally people, when I want to meet them and I tell them I do hypnotherapy, they want to talk about like the element of how people feel like they might be losing control or their mind's taken over and it's not their own anymore. That's generally what people want to talk to me about.
Do you ever get tired though of having that conversation that, no, I'm not going to make you impersonate a chicken?
I feel like it's a worthwhile conversation. So at this stage in the game, no, because I can explain it in quite a fun way that makes it, and it's just like my little contribution to sort of adding legitimacy for a tool that I've seen people use to make really amazing changes. So I'm cool to explain it because I've seen the changes that people can make. And so if people, even if it just like awakens some curiosity in people, I feel like it's a great thing.
Do you think people are getting more open-minded or having a better understanding of how hypnotherapy can be used to help them?
I think people are definitely less scared, should I say, or less skeptical, which is really, really good. And I feel like, when they start to... The great thing is that we can explain it now from a very neuroscientific point of view. So we can explain what the changes are happening in the brain. We can give it like scientific weight, rather than it being this like ethereal thing that no one knew much about and it's in the ether. Now we can explain it like from a scientific point of view. It does really help people go, oh, okay, there's something in it.
Oh, and so many people I've seen that when you explain how you work, suddenly they're like, oh, that's what I need, because it can create a step change.
Yeah.
They're trying to achieve something. Maybe they've gone through some kind of therapy or other approaches, and they're not quite able to quite take that mindset shift, and hypnotherapy can really move them forward in it, which I think is amazing.
For sure. And I think as well, it's like, even if you're just explaining to clients like how their brain is working, how their brain is responding to stress and anxiety, how anxiety is built, it's just really a comfort to them that they're not losing their mind, that they're not like just going crazy, but it's just that they are literally their brain is doing what it should be doing, and it's just taking its job a little too seriously, and we just can work with our brain to make it feel like it's like they're there, everything's not on fire. And the less that we feel like things are on fire, that's when we can make those really good decisions about how we can move forward.
Well, let's come back to that a bit later when we talk about goal setting and understanding our brains, but let's start with something a bit more frivolous. As you know, I'm completely disconnected from pop culture.
I love this because it's when we meet for dinner or we have a chat and I'm like, oh, have you heard blah blah blah, or we talk about X, Y, and Z,
and I have no idea what you're talking about, but I'm always really interested in it.
Yeah.
And so what should I be aware? What should be on my radar right now that really isn't, or what's been captivating you in pop culture in the last couple of weeks?
I feel like it's been the same thing that's been catching my attention for a long time now. It's going to obviously be the Wuthering Heights film that's coming up. So there's a lot of back and forth about this film that's coming out. It's got starring Jacob Elordi and Margot Robbie, who is just fucking fire. Really sorry that this is probably going to be a sweary podcast, but I will try and keep it to a minimum.
No, first of all, why are we apologising for that? There was a recent article in the Times about how swearing reduces stress levels, which I really believe it does. Yes. So I think we should bring back swearing.
Perfect. And this is why you're here, this is why I'm here, because I will bring the frivolity and you will
bring it back to the studies in the Times. Exactly. Yeah, perfect combination. Okay,
but yes, so you got Jacob Elordi, you got Margot Robbie, and this film has been in sort of like it's been coming, and they've been on quite a heavy sort of like awareness campaign for quite a while now. But the film is coming out on the 13th of February. So it's really starting to gather momentum. And this week, they started like the in-person press tour. And Margot Robbie obviously went on a very successful press tour for Barbie, where she basically turned up at the premieres looking like a Barbie doll. Oh my God,
her outfits for Barbie every time was so amazing.
This is you need to look at her outfit. If you do nothing else with your time, that you need to look at Margot Robbie's outfits, because it's like she's now gothic Barbie. Oh, wow. And it is insane how good she looks.
So she loves a theme, and I like that. I like leaning into a theme. Is there anything controversial about the film though?
The film, because with the film, it's like people are obviously huge fans of the book. They want to see like a pure adaptation, but the director is actually on record as saying you can't really do justice to the book in the way that you would probably want to. So that's why she has used the title Wuthering Heights, but she's put it in like, what do you call it?
Quotation marks.
Yes, because it's like Wuthering Heights.
So they're telling you it's not going to be like the original book.
Yes.
So if you're devoted to the book, you're going to go there and you're going to be upset.
Maybe. The thing is, it's like we've seen there's been a lot about like the relationship between Jacob Elordi, a lot of press noise about Jacob Elordi and Margot Robbie, about the outfits, about how lusciously aesthetically pleasing this film is. Oh my gosh, I can't wait. And there's less about like what the actual like story's going to look like and how it's all going to shape up. So it might be that that's more true to the book, but it won't be the same as
For people who haven't read the book, though, what's the fundamental storyline behind it?
Oh my gosh, don't ask me this. I don't know. I'm only here for Jacob Elordi and Margot Robbie.
Okay, it's about unrequited love, right? At the beginning. There's obviously like loads of press about like the outfits, the actors, what have you. I think what I'm going to be interested in watching it is how they portray the relationships. Because obviously in this relationship there's some unrequited love, there's some quite what you would consider modern day, potentially some quite toxic or disturbing behaviours. So it will be really interesting to see how that translates and how audiences connect to it. Because if we look at traditional literature and relationships in traditional literature, obviously it's romantic and therefore it's highly dramatic. But now when we're talking about relationships, we're trying to get people to have really healthy relationships. And so we think that when there's a lot of drama, what do you hear everyone say? Red flag. So that's why I think sometimes when these stories are revisited, it's really interesting to see in the film, how do they handle that? Do they try and modernise it, make relationships look a bit more balanced? Or do they just lean into the original and expect you to kind of romantically go along with it, recognising that in modern day, some of the behaviours would be either unacceptable or concerning?
It's interesting because it's like there's so I feel like they're definitely leaning into their relationship and like the intensity of the connection that they have, but also how destructive it is to everything and everyone around them. And that is something that I feel like has been, and I've said this to you before, about Hollywood when it comes to like the films, like it's like unless the connection you're having with the romantic person is very all-consuming, very exciting, it's like if it's not that and it's like a stable kind of like relationship and it's kind of okay, not okay, but it's like very safe and it makes it's stability, it's stable. It's not a meaningful connection. It needs to be that fiery, all-consuming, like, that is a valid connection. It's like, for example, like we say about Jack and Rose in Titanic and how actually, well, we all wish that it had panned out a different way, but like how if that relationship had been allowed to continue, how that would, it's always about like the slightly volatile guy with the red flags perhaps hiding in the background, that is seen as a meaningful relationship as opposed to the relationships that actually are better for our well-being. Like you said, the healthy relationships.
Is that because Hollywood just knows that it makes a boring movie to have a healthy dynamic and people just have issues and then talk them through and then they're fine again? Or do you think audiences just genuinely want that escapism? They don't want to see a real relationship represented on the screen. They want the romanticized, the extreme version, just because it's, I guess, more entertaining, more emotive, and Hollywood's just meeting that demand.
It's true, and I do think so. But it's like from like a human point of view, we do. It will seep those messaging. That messaging does seep in. It's the same with like social media, where it's like in your logical brain, you're looking at someone's highlight reel, and they're not actually perhaps that. They're definitely not that happy. You're seeing like literally at most a 20-second snapshot into their life.
Yes.
In that reel. And logically, you can sit here and be like, oh, it's their highlight reel. Their life doesn't look like this. They still cry. They still shit. They still puke. All the rest of it.
No one puts that on Instagram. Please don't put that on Instagram. We don't want to see it.
It's a different kind of platform. But it's like, even though you know that logically, you can't help but go there in that comparison of how like you're feeling or how you're doing in your life. Even if it's like whether it's fitness goals or life goals, it's very hard to make that discerning, like have that point of view that it's just someone's highlight reel. very hard when you're in the moment to be like, well, my life doesn't look like this, and not go down that route.
And when you're confronted with so much imagery, but that brings us perfectly onto this week's theme of goal setting and authentic goal setting, because it's very easy when you're looking at social media to see other people's lives and what their goals are and what they've supposedly achieved, and actually there's a hell of a lot of that that's faked, and then think, I should be aiming for that.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons goal setting is a very core early part of the Bad Bitch Reset is that we want people to step back for a second and look at their goals and make sure that they're truly authentic, so that when they achieve them, it will have meaning and fulfillment to them, instead of leaving them with that hollow feeling of, oh, that, you know, that didn't really mean anything for me. Or even worse, because it's not authentic, they won't really achieve it, and they'll just feel really bad about themselves. So I think that, like, that whole authenticity piece is really important. And it's why when my clients are setting goals, I will often ask, why is that goal important to you?
Yeah.
Because often someone, if we're truthful about it, you'll ask someone what their goal is, and they'll say, I want a big house, I want to make more money, I want to get promoted, or I want this kind of relationship. But the fundamental why is, at the end of it, they want to feel happier, or more contented, or like they're contributing or have purpose. And sometimes when you back out and say, well, will that goal actually achieve the thing you really want out the back of it? Or is it that social media, messages and films and magazines have told you that that goal will fulfill you, that have told you that when you have a bigger house, a better paid job, when you have a certain car or a certain budget for holidays, then you'll be a happy, shiny person? And actually, that might be the opposite. It might be you go for all those things and it takes you away from meaningful connections, from true relationships, from actually doing things that would make you happy that might not be crazily expensive.
And in your experience when you work with your clients, what would you say is, because the world is pulling our attention all the time, here, there and everywhere, and it's very easy, like with the social media thing as we touched on, to get pulled into, I really, really want this goal, I really need to run a marathon, I need to buy a bigger house, I need to do X, Y and Z. What is like a really good first step to take how would you start by figuring out whether that's a goal you actually want, or you've just been like sucked into thinking it is something you want?
I think there's a couple of things. One is that question of, okay, that's a great goal. Why do you want that? What will be different for you at the end of that? Is that not something you already have now? Are there other ways to achieve that goal? I also really love the question of, what would you like to achieve? What would you like your goals to be if no one saw the result?
Yeah, I like that.
There's no validation, literally no one, not even your partner, saw it happen. Would it still have meaning for you? Because I do think there's a lot of goal setting and achieving that people do for external validation.
For sure.
It's amazing how many people are doing things to prove their parents wrong, or please their parents, or prove past colleagues wrong, or show an ex how much better they're doing now. Like, there's so many reasons that people do it to show, I want to show this other person, I want to prove to this other person. None of that matters. It actually only matters, you might want to prove to yourself what you're capable of. I regularly take on challenges of things I've not done before because I want to find out what I'm capable of. But I don't broadcast that to everybody. I'm not necessarily calling someone and saying, oh, let me show you what I did. And as you know, I'm not even on Instagram. So I'm definitely not, I'm so removed from it. I'm not showing people that I've done that because I am just doing it for myself. So I think that question, are you just doing it for yourself? Another really good one is check in with your values. If you get really clear on your values, then you can see, is that goal aligned with it or not?
Yeah.
And I was talking to a client last week who's got a big career decision. They're being offered a great job within their industry that's a lot more money, but they've also for ages wanted to set up their own business doing something completely different. And it is very difficult when you're offered a lot of money for something to say no. I totally get that. And then we went back to, what are your values? What's important to you? For this client, their values were contribution, were freedom, independence. And they're never going to get that independence getting paid a lot of money in a big corporation. And in fact, the more you get paid, often the more a business kind of thinks they own you.
100%.
And so going back to her values helped her get that clarity that she was missing. But if you don't know what your values are, then stop and take that time, whether that's working with a coach or just, there's tons of content online to just help you start to unpick what is truly important to you from a values perspective. And then, are your goals aligned with that or not? And if they're not, then maybe they're not the right goals. And then again, think about, what am I trying to achieve? Is there another way I could achieve it?
I like that. And then also just a thought that occurred to me just then, when it comes to about your values, if you feel like you've come quite far from who you feel like you truly are, and you've just come away from yourself, and you're not sure what your values are, maybe have a little think about like the people that you admire, perhaps. Like, who is it that you admire? It doesn't have to be like loads of them, but what are those people's values? And do they resonate with you? And then you can start working backwards to your what you value, and then doing those value-led goals for sure.
Yeah, and the other point I like on that one is, if you've lost a bit of who you are, revisit your younger self.
Yes.
Often think about who you were before puberty, actually, and think about what kind of person were you, what brought you pleasure. I mean, weirdly, as a child, my kind of make-believe game at home was I would play at running my own business.
Love it.
So that was always something that was very appealing to me for some reason. And then I've ended up doing that in my career. So I often will go to clients, what did you used to want to do as a job when you were younger? What were the things you liked playing at? Because often the things we like doing as play are very authentic. Whereas the things where we're strategizing and thinking, that's not such a natural behavior. So think about, who was I as a child? What did I enjoy? What did I aspire to then? What was important to me then? Before we got in our heads too much, we were influenced as adults, and we started worrying about what people think about us. That is the disease of being an adult, is that you start worrying what other people think, and you start letting that make your decisions. And the further you can move away from that, the more you're going to make authentic decisions for yourself.
Yeah. And I think if anyone wants to, even if you feel like you've come really far from who you are and like your goals, there is no shame or anything wrong with just deciding, I'm not going to do this goal and I'm just going to pivot.
Yeah.
Because number one, people are quite wrapped up in what they're doing in their own lives. Let's just be real about it. And number two, it's like, you only owe it to yourself. And again, it's really hard, especially as women, because it's like, you only owe it to yourself, and look after yourself and put yourself first. And it's a lovely, sometimes for like some of the listeners and viewers, it might feel like that's a pipe dream. But like, I suppose if we were to work it back to, like, again, taking it right back to the baby steps, you start with your values, or you start with, I want to now just start doing goals that are for me. What would you give someone as advice for like?
Well, one of the reasons we want people to set goals is that it helps you not get diverted onto other people's plans and goals. So if you don't have any goals for your year, and it doesn't even have to be about career, it could just be about goals about how you want to spend your time. I want to spend more time doing this with these people, less time doing this with these people. It helps you have that life that you want and not then be hijacked by somebody else's goals. And I think, again, where women can lean into being caregivers, they can get to the end of the year and think, where's the time gone? Because they were so busy supporting their partners, friends, parents, children. So first of all, getting clear on what's authentic, what you want for yourself, and then regularly checking in with that.
Yeah.
And when someone asks you for time or gives you an option, ask yourself, does this take me further towards achieving my goal, or further away from it?
Love that.
And so that's why you need goals in every area of your life. I have goals around my social life. And then when I get invited to something, I immediately know that's aligned with it. But also I might get invited to something and actually it's not aligned with that goal, or it's not aligned with the other goals in my life. As you know, and everyone in my life knows, I am renovating a house entirely, the whole thing. And that was a big goal last year, was to find and buy a house that I could do up. And this year I'm doing it up. And so I have a goal about what I want to achieve by when. And that means I sometimes have to say no to other activities. And I am somebody who loves to say yes to almost everything. So that's where having those goals can help you prioritize what will have meaning to you ultimately and what's important to you. So for me, I'm sometimes having to prioritize making time to work on my house. That's a really nice thing I can do to create a home that's really supportive for myself.
I love that. And then talk a bit about, if you don't mind, about your what I call dream days. Like,
oh yes,
I love this.
Well,
as a tourist, and like having goals in luxury, that sort of thing. I like anything that requires me to sort of like play make believe. I'm all there
You're all
for
that. Well, we talk on the Bad Bitch Reset about the importance of setting a 5-year vision, because you can have some really big goals that might not be possible in a year, but actually you can achieve a hell of a lot in 5 years. So sometimes taking the deadline further away helps. So you set that 5-year vision, but then what can happen is you can spend your whole life having this vision of this incredible life you're going to have in 5 years' time. It just keeps moving back, and it's like, oh, in 5 years' time I'm going to be living X life. So one of the things I like people to do is to write down what a day in that life looks like in 5 years' time. Like, where are they living, or which neighborhood are they in, or how are they dressed, or who are they spending with, or where are they going, what are they doing? And then pick a date sometime in the next month. Take the day off work or have a day to yourself and go and live that life now.
Yes.
So if your future life's going to have more time to spend with your girlfriends, well, book a day where you're going to spend that time with your girlfriends and go to the spa. But then also, what's your routine going to look like? What's your home going to look like? If you're not in that ideal home right now, can you just rent an Airbnb for a weekend? Can you just go and stay in a hotel for a weekend? So you're just in an environment that really has the feeling of where you're trying to get to. And Jim Carrey used to say, you know, you've got to go and smell the leather. Like, if you want to manifest a car, if that's your goal, is to buy a fancy car, he said, don't wait till you can afford it. Go to the Lamborghini showroom, sit in the car and smell the leather. And I think that having this dream day is just really smelling the leather in every way. Go to the kind of gym you want to go to, move in the kind of way you want to like, watch the things you want to be watching. In your dream life, are you spending hours scrolling on Instagram, looking at other people's perfect lives, or are you so busy out there living your perfect life that you forget to even look at your phone?
I love that. And is this you telling me you're going to buy a Lamborghini?
No, you know what? It's funny because I remember when I first kind of got into goal setting, a lot of the books I read would often say like about the dream car and start with a car. And I did actually, when I was younger, have my dream car, as you know, a Mini Cooper S. And that was never a thing for me. And then weirdly, this year, that has started to come back on my radar of, maybe I want like a fun car, because I've
too much time with me.
You know, the thing is, you and I both love cars.
Yeah.
So that's a real thing that we're both into. But I think you have different goals at different times. I've had a lot of goals about where I live and houses, and I've been moving, and all of that's been amazing. And then for some reason, it's probably your influence, just come back on my vision board. Maybe there's a bit of a budget for a fun car there. So that's the thing. It's also leaving space for organic inspiration, because there's so much of this that is just us thinking. But actually, one of the reasons to take time out, or even do things like meditate or walk in nature, is just to give yourself a bit of space and say, what inspires me? And also going out and having this dream day, but just going out in different environments and seeing what ideas pop into your head. Mm-hmm. I ended up moving to this part of the countryside in Kent by just thinking that I wanted to move, and then just starting to drive around areas. And then I suddenly came to this area and a light bulb went off in my head. I am meant to live here.
Love it.
But that wasn't something that I just sat and thought about for ages. And I thought, if I think hard enough, I'll find the perfect location. I had done the work I do as a coach and also on myself enough to realise you often don't get the right answer by just sitting still thinking 100%. On your own. You need to go out in the world, whether that's looking for the perfect job. You need to go out and explore different opportunities, talk to people, do your research. In life, you need to go out and have different experiences, meet different people, see different ways of living, and then see, you know, like Marie Kondo, who says spark joy. Like when you're in your house and you're clearing stuff out, see which items spark joy and get rid of the ones that don't. I think you can do spark joy in your whole life. Yeah. When you're out and about, what activities, what conversations suddenly sparks something in you, give you some energy, see it as a treasure hunt and follow those things. And then they may lead to you having goals that you never thought you had. There are things I've achieved in my life that make me so happy that a 15 years ago version of me would never have written that on a goal list, not even remotely been interested in it. But they've been things that have come to me through inspiration. And then when I've achieved them, they've been incredibly fulfilling.
Yeah. It's that saying, like, to have a life, you have to live a life. It's so true. Anything else you want to add in the arena of goal setting? I
think there's a few benefits to it in terms of helps you make decisions. Obviously, if they're authentic, they're really fulfilling. I think we should talk about, though, how do you actually make them happen and make them real? Yeah. When you're helping clients with that, how do you help them turn those goals into reality?
So the typical approach, because it's like especially if we're working in terms of like a 5-year vision and it seems quite far away, definitely doing your dream days is great, because it's like, it's giving your brain like a real life experience, and you a real life experience of what this is like, and it acts as like a motivator. But if you're not quite sure where to go, what we do is we take it, it's like tracking it back. It's like the sat nav. When you're planning a journey, you don't get overwhelmed with all of the little nooks and like roads and A roads and the roundabouts you have to take. It's like one stage at a time. So what we do is we work out what the first stage is. So if your goal is to run a marathon, and you have like never run in your life, the first step is not like that you start running every night of the week. It's literally like, maybe you go out for a 1K walk once in that week. It's like making your goals so simple. If you want to be someone that meditates for like 10 minutes a day, it's like literally try just doing it 30 seconds, and it's just building those habits and just building like consistency. It's not very sexy, consistency, but focus and consistency get you to where you want to go. And it's those small, tiny steps. Like, so when you have your big goal, the first thing you need to do is work out what the tiny next thing is. And I do talk about Frozen, the Disney film, a lot with my clients.
Which I've also not seen. Another cultural reference I've missed.
Technically it's Frozen 2, but she sings a song in it, and it's called The Next Right Thing.
Right.
And it's about, if you feel like the whole prospect, because we're not supposed to be like, that sometimes the macro picture is very overwhelming, so we need to dial it back to what is the next right thing, what is the next tiny thing I can do, especially if you feel like, Julia and Emily, I don't even know where to start with like my goals and my values. This is just way beyond me. I'm so freaking miserable where things are now. Just, if you can, just take a very small pause, even like 2-3 breaths, and then figure out, like, in this moment, just to feel like, to steady the ship or just to feel better, what is the next small right thing? I mean, you know me, I'm always totally real. There'll be mornings in this freaking longest January ever when I'm literally like, I have to talk to myself like I'm a 3-year-old. It's like, it's all right. We don't need to think about the rest of the day. We're just going to put like one foot out of bed. Okay, good job. Okay, now we're going to put I'm not even joking, lovely. I'm literally
No, we coach ourselves all the time.
Exactly. It's like, right, put one leg in your tight. Good job. Okay, one leg is in. Now just put the other tight leg on. And it's like, okay, what's the next right thing?
Yeah.
Clean your teeth. Okay, great, we've cleaned the teeth. What's the next thing? And it's like, all we need to do next is just put your lipstick on. Okay, cool. Right, what's the next thing? And it's just taking like the anxiety and the overwhelm out, and just taking it back to what is the next tiny right thing that I need to do, or what is the next thing I need to do to sort of get through the day.
I've had to do that so much with this house because as you know, the renovation I'm doing is so extensive. If you stop and think about it all, it is quite overwhelming. But I have a goal for how I want the house to be at the end of this year, and I also had one for last year. And each week just saying, what are 2 or 3 small actions I can take towards that? I've actually achieved a lot. But if I stopped each week and just looked at the whole list of things that need doing to the house, my brain would freak out.
Yeah.
Can you explain a bit about why our brains are happier when we just go for like, let's just do a couple of next steps instead of going for, oh, I'm going to change everything tomorrow?
And it's funny because there are people that they seem to be able to change everything on a dime and just change everything. That is a result of like basically years of their brain gathering information, like, and just basically it seems like it happens overnight, but it has been a long journey of taking on all those cues, maybe being frustrated at a certain situation that it feels like they make a decision one day, but that hasn't actually happened. And for us, like, people that don't cope well with that huge pivotal change, what is very key with our brains, it's like our brains are quite lazy and they like routine, they like to know what's happening, because then our brain doesn't have to work so hard. And the first thing I say to like all of my clients is that safe and happy are not the same thing. Your brain wants you to be safe. Happy, fulfilled, dynamic individual is not the same as just that routine-based person. And so, like, with our brain is we will have our comfort zone, which is our safe zone. But what we're looking to do is we want to just gently expand that comfort zone into a sort of challenge zone. And it's really, really tiny outside of our comfort zone, because we want our brain to go, I'm not sure about this change, but we can kind of do it. It's kind of easy to get on board with. We don't want to then set ourselves these goals where we're in the terror zone of change. And it's like, right, I'm going to work out, I'm up at 5 a.m, I'm going to cold plunge, I'm going to have a red sauna, what is it? Infrared, thank you. I'm like, although that sounds quite nice. I'm going to work out, I'm going to go to work, I'm going to make 20 cold calls, I'm going to do, no.
The brain's going to completely resist it.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, what's the small change? We need to be in that challenge zone. Otherwise your brain, you're going to be like, it's going to take a lot of brain work that you probably need to apply to like creativity, and you can better utilize your brain power elsewhere for creativity, feeling good, building confidence, than you can by setting these terror zone goals where you're just freaking out and also going back in your head all the time, oh, should I do it, should I not, I'm not sure about this. You want to use as much of your brain power to actually move you forward, as opposed to fighting because you set those massive goals. Yeah,
that point about safe and happy, like your brain would rather you are safe and happy than happy, is the most important point when you realise that, because if you want these goals that will bring you true fulfillment, you have to acknowledge that there'll be moments your brain feels unsafe, and that when you do take on these challenges, that you will experience inner resistance, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean you don't do the thing. It just means, okay, I'm understanding why this is a little bit out of my comfort zone, a bit uncomfortable, but I also know when I push myself through it, I'm going to get all this extra confidence from doing it. And that's really the growth mindset, right? That's taking on small challenges, and each time you do that thing, your brain then goes, oh, that was fine, I can do it. And then you go on to the next thing. So I think one of the things is with your goals is accept that it will take you a bit out of your comfort zone, but that's your brain just trying to be safe, and that's completely fine.
Yeah.
I think there's another important point on this whole wanting to change everything overnight, and also maybe this almost like toxic productivity culture where we watch lots of podcasts where people are doing the 4 a.m. club, which you and I are never, ever.
No way.
I'll only be up at 4 a.m. because I'm still up.
Yes, it's
definitely never going to be because I got up to do something early. Never. So, but there's this culture where people look at people who are like the hustle culture, and then you're expected to be unbelievably productive and just achieve this crazy amount. And that's great if that's bringing you genuine happiness. I would say one of the things that has brought me happiness after I left my corporate job is working less and getting up later. I can genuinely say those have improved my health, my happiness, like they've really worked. So I think that's, again, watching that kind of culture around that, and watching the messaging you're receiving. And if we think back to our ancestors living in a tribe around the campfire, it wasn't helpful to suddenly change the way they did everything one day to the next. They learned what worked for them as a tribe, as humans, and they passed that down through storytelling, and they incrementally improved things as they learned. And there was a lot of experimenting and finding out what worked. They weren't watching a podcast that suddenly said, this is the diet you should eat, and this is the routine you should have. And the next day, they changed everything they ate, the time they got up, like how they interacted with people. They just changed it overnight. So think about it. Our bodies and brains have not evolved to have this kind of overnight life change. And so not only will our brains freak out and overreact to that, and then often we can't sustain it, and then we feel like failures.
Exactly.
So it's not helpful. But also from a nutritional perspective, because obviously I'm also a nutritional therapist, our body doesn't love massive change.
No.
Even if someone's got a really unhealthy diet, it can actually be quite bad for the body to completely abandon that overnight. So this is where I think we can actually be really kind to ourselves and have positive goals, but also say, I'm going to take it easy. I'm going to ease my way into that. I'm not going to white knuckle this. I'm not going to change everything overnight. I can achieve these goals, but I can do it a slightly easier way. So I think that, like, let's take the easy route instead of making our lives really difficult and just changing everything in one go.
Yeah, for sure. Because it's like, as well, it's like there'll be people listening, and I have myself been in this place too. It's like, if you watch something, it's really important that we see other people do amazing things, because that is really inspiring and it really resonates with us. But if we watch someone doing something really inspiring, like the Rocky films, in its time, everyone was like, they would watch Rocky and be like, right, that's it. as of tomorrow, I'm going to do it. Your brain might be listening to this and think, Julia and Emily, you know shit. I can change my life on a dime, because that is what our brain will do. That's great that you're relying on that in the moment sort of motivation to try and carry you through. So set yourself up for success by just being like, okay, when we've got the motivation to do that and it's really fucking go time, let's do it. But at the same time, let's put in like a baseline of little small steps that we can maintain to create a great base for all those big all those big tasks when we feel like it.
So I've got a framework that we're going to share now that will help people with that. But I just want to tell you something, because you made me laugh when you talk about Rocky. Honestly, about 2 months ago, I watched $1 Million Baby with Hilary Swank, which is amazing. And the next day, I was doing 20 minutes with a jump rope, thinking I was going to turn myself into a boxer. I was like shadow punching, because I was so inspired and motivated by it. Like what? But obviously, I mean, I actually do like boxing, but obviously I wasn't going to keep that up. But that was that sheer motivation where you see something really inspiring. So what I want to share is something I share with my clients. Yes, you need the motivation, but how do you actually make those changes stick? So it's OPM. So the O stands for organized, the B stands for productive, and the M stands for motivation. So if you want to achieve something, you need all those elements. So yes, you need the motivation, but motivation is just what gets you started.
Yeah.
So the organization is, if you have a goal, stop now and think, what do I need to achieve that goal? Be super practical, get organized. Is it I need a project plan written down? Do I need some equipment? Do I need to book myself on a course? Get really organized. There's a lot of people trying to achieve the thing, but they don't have the tools to do it. And it can even be something as simple as, if I have a nice pad to write about this, a journal about this in, that's going to help me. Or if you're going to the gym, just having some nice gym clothes that you like putting on, that can be the organized element. But do you have the tools, the equipment, the setup that will make it really pleasurable to do the thing that achieves your goal? So get organized, do a bit of a plan. Again, visit your goals once a week or once a month and say, what are the steps I need to take this month? Just be like very practical about it. And then there's be productive, which sounds obvious, but often we procrastinate about goals because we think they're really big. As I said, like renovating an entire house is a really big goal. So I could easily sit and get overwhelmed and then feel really uncomfortable and then think, well, I'd just rather go and meet my friends or watch some TV and distract myself. So the productivity part is about just be productive.
Yeah.
Just do 10 minutes of anything that's aligned with that goal. Don't worry about, well, my next action has to be X. And then you're psyching yourself up for that. You're feeling a lot of resistance to that next action, find another one. Well, it's easier for me to just go and paint that wall. Just go and paint it. Yeah. But just force yourself to be productive for 10-15 minutes, and then you get momentum and you get going. So whenever you're procrastinating about achieving your goal, yes, reconnect with what motivates you, but get organized and just make yourself be productive for a short amount of time, and those things tend to get the ball rolling.
In the words of Nike, just do it.
Just do it. Totally, just do it. And the other one is eat them. It's like, how do you eat an elephant?
Yeah.
Yeah, so just like one small bite at a time. Don't look at it. Don't look at the elephant. Just go, what's the tiny 5-minute thing I can do?
Love that. What's the next right thing?
Exactly.
That was awesome, my love.
Such a joy. We hope all of you found that helpful. Take some time now to look at your goals, work out if they're authentic, check them with your values, and then check in with them once a week and think about what's like the next small thing that you can do to move forward on them.
And don't forget, you can always reach out to myself or Emily if you have any feedback or anything you want like us to talk about on future podcasts. So yeah, we're here to serve you and to help make your journey to being an authentic bad bitch easier. So anything you need, we're here for you. It is our absolute pleasure to be here.